Hello everyone, I'm Giulio Mattioli and this is a brief recap of my final dissertation from the Master in Spatial Transport and Environmental Economics at VU Amsterdam. So what is my final dissertation about? Well, it's about public opinion on renewable energy, concerning all the different issues and implications usually related to the deployment of renewable energy, meaning environmental, economic, social, and local implications. And what is the focus of my analysis? Well, the focus is Italy, which is my home country. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the research question. Well, the research question came out from the research project I was working on this winter when I was studying the employment effects related to the deployment of renewable energy in Southern Europe. It came out that Southern Europe is currently facing high threats from climate change. At the same time, it is suffering from strong levels of unemployment. But at the same time, it registers high levels of renewable energy potential. And so we are indeed witnessing a transition towards a new energy system based on renewables, with an idea that renewables can actually, let's say, catch two birds with one stone, in the sense that they can indeed tackle both environmental issues and social issues with the creation of jobs. So in this framework of transition, what is the role of public opinion? That's the point of my work, and that's the research question of my final dissertation. What is public opinion in Italy when it comes to renewable energy? What is the public attitude towards renewable energy? What is the public perception towards all the different implications usually related to renewable energy? So, of course, in order to do so, in order to study public opinion, I first of all had to understand which are the drivers of public opinion, which are the factors affecting and influencing public opinion. So, in order to do so, first of all, I reviewed the literature quite deeply, and it came out that there are various drivers that can have a strong influence on public opinion depending on the situation. So I decided to analyze, first of all, not in my backyardism. So all the issues usually related to not in my backyardism, for example, visual impacts, landscape disruption, the loss of cropland and farmland, the loss of biodiversity, and then the perception of economic impacts related to the deployment of renewable energy, usually related to the changes to the impact on the prices of electricity, on the electricity we consume. Then the perception of social impacts, which are the impacts that renewable energy has when it comes to local communities. Then the perception of environmental impacts, which is the impact that renewable energy has when it comes to air quality, but also to when it comes to the disruption of the environment where renewable energy plants are constructed. And also employment effects, which is related to the ability of renewable energy to create or destroy jobs, depending on how people perceive this impact of renewable energy. And then also the perception of renewable energy jobs themselves, which is the perception that people have concerning the quality of those jobs created by renewable energy. And then, last but not least, the level of awareness, the level of knowledge, of interest, of information that people have when it comes to renewable energy. And of course, in order to study public opinion, the most logical choice was to implement a survey studying and analyzing all the different drivers of public opinion that I have already described. And so it came out a quite long survey, 25 questions, but in any case, I got a very high completion rate, more than 90%, and a very good number of responses, more than 850 responses, just considering the complete responses. So that meant that basically everyone taking the survey was reaching the end of the survey, and many people were forwarding the survey to other people they knew. So I just had to really send the survey to few people, and the survey spread by itself. So it was really satisfying, and I got also very good feedback from respondents, also asking for more information, asking for correct answers. And all those answers were analyzed using Stata, employing an ordered logistic regression, ordered logic model, and also testing for statistical tests such as Pearson, Fisher, Wilcox-Sonman, Whitney, and Kruskal-Wallis. And all the results are can be found in the section 3, discussion of results, and also in a more detailed way in the appendix section 6. So before going to the results, let's focus on the social demographic characteristics that I decided to take into account for this survey. First of all, the age of respondents. Respondents were divided between younger, middle-aged, and older respondents. The gender of respondents, the level of education of respondents, dividing respondents depending on the fact that they hold a high school diploma or no diploma at all, an undergraduate or graduate degree, and then postgraduate degrees. And then the region of origin of respondents. Basically, since a good number of respondents came from the region of Emilia-Romagna, my home region, which is between the north and the center of Italy, I decided to divide the respondents depending on the fact that they came from the north of Italy, Emilia-Romagna, or the center and south of Italy. So in any case, dividing respondents according to the huge economic, cultural, social, historical characteristics that characterize the north and the center and the south of Italy. And then the level of knowledge of respondents, which was derived from a question asked in the survey. I was asking respondents to select renewable energy sources among a set of energy sources, even comprising oil, coal, or natural gas. And I had a good portion of respondents selecting natural gas as a renewable energy source, and so that's why there's a good portion of respondents with a bad level of renewable energy, a bad level of knowledge of renewable energy. And so I checked for multicollinearities, and that's why I have always, while performing the ordered logistic regressions, I have always added one socio-demographic characteristic at a time. This can be found in the appendix, while in the main text there are just the full ordered logistic regressions. That's because even checking for each multicollinearity, it appeared that no changes in statistical significance emerge, and so I could focus on the full ordered logistic regressions. Just a brief comment on the limitations that emerge from the analysis of those social demographics. It appears that most respondents are well educated, meaning that this survey can be seen as a picture of the fact that a picture of a quite educated portion of the population, with just few respondents having no high school diploma, and also there is the fact that respondents may be likely to live to mostly live in cities, but this is just a supposition. So let's go straight to the results, and it appears that the so-called not in my backyardism plays little or no role in influencing negatively public opinion in Italy, and that's unexpected. In any case, it has to be considered not in my backyardism in this context has to be considered as not in my provinceism. Italy is divided into regions and then provinces, and I was asking respondents whether they are willing to accept the establishment, the construction of more renewable energy plants at the national, regional, and provincial level. It came out that respondents are definitely willing to accept the construction of further renewable energy plants, even next to where they live. And so that was unexpected, but may be explained by the fact that, and I was asking it in the survey, the fact that the population, the Italian population, perceive renewable energy as poorly developed at all levels, and so they may be more willing or may accept more easily the construction of new renewable energy plants next to where they live. There is also another unexpected result, which is the fact that this so-called job-killing argument is almost non-existent. So basically, the Italian population perceives renewable energy really as an instrument capable of creating rather than destroying jobs. And again, this may be explained by the fact that renewable energy is perceived as a growing sector, so as capable of creating jobs. And then there is these two interesting results that again were unexpected. Um, the fact that there is no statistically significant difference in how respondents answer the questions depending on their level of education, and even more interestingly, depending on their region of origin, depending on the fact that they come from the north or the south of Italy. That was striking for me. It was really unexpected because of the huge differences that exist between the north and the south of Italy, both economically, socially, culturally, historically, even geographically. But then I have to realize that there is this um, sort of energy identity coming from the north to the south of Italy. The north and the south of Italy move together when it comes to energy, and they move together when it comes to energy issues. For example, in the case of the rejection of the establishment of nuclear power plants, I have to say now they come together also when it comes to the perception of renewable energy. Other results. So up to now, we covered what didn't came out and was expected to came out from the survey, but what came out actually from the survey is that people perceive renewable energy as expensive. There is this good portion of the population that thinks that renewables are expensive and that they increase the price of the electricity bill. Um, I would say this comes from the fact that there is also another aspect emerging from the survey, which is the fact that people lack, first of all, interest. There is a good portion of the population that has no interest in the subject, no interest in renewable energy, but more importantly, there is a good portion of the population that has uh, really low levels of information concerning renewable energy. Concerning also the different renewable energy technologies, it's interesting to point out that solar energy is by far the most preferred technology by the Italian population, while bioenergy is by far the least preferred technology, facing a good level of negative opinion. So let's briefly conclude with the fact that it appears that the Italian population has an overall positive attitude towards renewable energy, a positive relationship with renewable energy that is more positive than I was expecting. And so rather than highlighting the barriers, I would like to highlight the opportunities that lay ahead that could be exploited in order to improve further public opinion on renewable energy or improve the development of the renewable energy system. First of all, for instance, the possible diffusion of agrivoltaic systems, basically combining the production of food with the production of electricity. They could help greatly farmers, and those agrivoltaic systems could be helped by the diffusion of community renewable energy. This idea that comes from the Central European countries with the establishment of cooperatives within the renewable energy sectors, helping farmers to establish, manage, and finance the establishment, the construction of those agrivoltaic systems. Another aspect is linked to the possible requalification of degraded areas. The establishment of large-scale renewable energy plants in degraded areas may increase the value of the land, remove the stigma associated with living in those areas, and also may bring employment in those areas that are likely to suffer from historical unemployment. There is also the fact that small islands, Italy is made of more than 10 archipelagos made of small islands. So small islands can really set an example. They are surrounded by renewable energy potential in terms of sea, wind, and sun. And so they may really set an example in transitioning towards 100% renewable energy system. Last but not least, bioenergy. Bioenergy, it appears that it suffers, as I said, from negative public opinion. Uh, Bioenergy should be destigmatized in a sense that the Italian population lacks information concerning the role of bioenergy, how the level of safety associated with bioenergy. And so I suggest that really a public information campaign should be performed by the Italian government, uh, improving the level of knowledge of the Italian population when it comes to bioenergy. So, as said, Italian public attitude is overall positive, and I would like to conclude by sharing this beautiful image and hoping that all of our countries can go green together.